Hi, everyone. Welcome to the English Today journey. I'm very happy that you are here. If you enjoy learning English every day, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for daily tips and lessons. Today, I want to talk about a problem that many English learners face. It is a very common issue, and if you have experienced it, you are not alone. Have you ever noticed this about yourself? You can read English books without any difficulty. You can listen to people speaking English and understand almost everything. You might even understand movies, TV shows, and songs in English without subtitles. But when it is time to speak, something strange happens. Your mind goes blank. The words you know so well just won't come out. You feel stuck. You understand everything, but your mouth doesn't work the same way. This can be very frustrating. You may ask yourself, why can I understand English but not speak it? I want to tell you something important. Understanding English is already a big achievement. If you can understand English, it means your brain has a strong foundation. You have already learned grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation well. The problem is not with your skills. The problem is with confidence and practice in speaking. Speaking is a skill that needs time and regular practice. The good news is you can improve it and you can speak English clearly and confidently. In this episode, I will explain why many learners face this problem and how you can solve it step by step. We will look at the main reasons people understand English but struggle to speak. Then, I will share simple tips that you can use every day to start speaking naturally. Whether you're learning English for your job, school, travel, or just for fun, these tips will help you. By the end of this episode, you will have a clear plan to practice speaking every day and see real progress. Let me share a story about someone you might relate to. Her name is Sarah. Sarah is a good friend of mine and also a very dedicated English learner. She studied English for many years. She learned grammar carefully, memorized a lot of vocabulary, and practiced reading every day. She could read English books and understand them easily. She could watch movies without subtitles and follow everything people said. Sarah was an excellent student. But there was one problem: speaking English. Every time she tried to speak, she froze. Her brain knew the words, but her mouth didn't say them. One day, I invited Sarah to go to a cafe with me. I said, "Let's order in English." She smiled and agreed. But when we got to the counter and it was time to talk to the barista, Sarah looked at the person in front of her and went completely quiet.
She didn't know what to say.
Even though she understood every word the barista said, she could not respond. Her mind was full of English words, but nothing came out. She felt embarrassed and frustrated. This is exactly how many learners feel. They can understand English perfectly, but speaking becomes difficult when they are in a real situation. The reason this happens is simple. Speaking requires both knowledge and practice. Knowing words and grammar is only one part. Using English in real life, making mistakes, and speaking aloud is another part. Many learners focus only on reading and listening. This builds understanding, but it does not build confidence to speak. Speaking also needs courage. You need to practice speaking slowly, making mistakes, and learning from them. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Sarah's story is not unusual. Many learners feel the same way. The key is to start small. Speak a little every day, even if it is just one sentence. Practice with a friend, a teacher, or even by yourself. Start with simple conversations and repeat them until you feel when we got to the counter, something unexpected happened. Sarah, who usually understood English perfectly, went completely silent. She wanted to speak, but no words came out. It was as if her mouth had stopped working, even though her mind was full of the right words. I could see she was frustrated, and I gently asked her, "What happened?" Sarah looked embarrassed and said, "I knew what I wanted to say, but I got nervous. I didn't want to make a mistake. I was scared I would sound bad." This is a feeling many English learners know very well. It is normal to feel nervous when speaking a new language. You have the knowledge, but fear stops you. You may feel afraid of making mistakes, afraid of sounding wrong, or even worried about what others might think. Maybe you have felt the same way. You understand English perfectly when you read, listen, or watch something. But when it comes to speaking, your mind goes blank, your mouth freezes, and you stay quiet. You might have wanted to say something, but felt scared to try. I want you to know this. You are not alone. Millions of learners experience this. Even advanced students who understand everything sometimes freeze when they need to speak. Feeling nervous or afraid does not mean you are bad at English. It is simply part of learning. I know this because I have felt it too. When I started speaking English, I could understand almost everything. I could read books and watch movies easily. But when I had to speak, I froze. My brain knew the words, but my mouth did not cooperate. The fear of making mistakes was stronger than my knowledge. It is a common struggle, and it can be overcome with the right mindset and practice. Let's go back to Sarah. She faced the same problem. She was afraid to speak. She did not want to make mistakes, and every time she tried, she felt nervous. But slowly, Sarah started to change the way she thought about speaking English. She began to accept that making mistakes is normal. Mistakes are not something to fear. They are part of learning. Once she accepted this, everything started to change. Sarah began speaking in short and simple sentences. At first, her sentences were not perfect, but that was okay. She practiced speaking regularly, even when it was uncomfortable. She spoke more with me, joined a small English-speaking club, and even talked to strangers in English. She made grammar mistakes and mispronounced words sometimes, but she did not let that stop her. Little by little, her confidence grew. She started speaking more every day. Over time, Sarah became more fluent and confident. Today, she is one of the most confident English speakers I know. She travels the world and speaks English with people from many countries. She uses English in her work and in daily life, without fear. What made the difference? It was not perfection. It was practice, patience, and the courage to make mistakes. She focused on speaking, not on being perfect. Every small step she took helped her improve. Sarah's story shows us something very important. Speaking English is a skill, just like riding a bike or playing a sport. You cannot expect to be perfect at first. You need practice, patience, and the willingness to make mistakes. Confidence grows slowly, one step at a time. The more you speak, the easier it becomes. And just like Sarah, you can move from fear and hesitation to fluency and confidence. It all starts with one small step, trying to speak, even if it is scary.
Confident.
Over time, speaking will become easier and natural. Understanding and speaking will finally work together. Sarah shared something very powerful with me. She said, "The biggest change I made was stopping the need to be perfect. I just started speaking. I focused on communicating, not on perfection." This is such an important lesson for every English learner. Many people get stuck like Sarah. They know a lot of English, they can read and listen well, but speaking feels impossible. The good news is you can change that too. With practice, patience, and a positive mindset, you can become a confident speaker. One day, you will notice that speaking English feels just as easy as understanding it. Now, you might be asking, why does this happen? Why can I understand English but cannot speak it? This is a very common question, and the answer is simple. There are a few main reasons why learners face this problem. Understanding these reasons can help you fix it. Reason 1. Not enough speaking practice. Many learners spend a lot of time reading, listening, or studying grammar. This is helpful because it builds understanding, but it is not enough. Speaking is a skill, and like any skill, it requires regular practice. When you don't speak often, speaking can feel scary or uncomfortable. You might hesitate, freeze, or even avoid speaking altogether. But the more you practice, the easier it becomes. Think of it this way. Babies listen to people speaking for months before they say a single word. Then they start speaking slowly, making lots of mistakes, but they keep trying. That is how they learn. You can do the same with English. Even 10 minutes of speaking every day can make a big difference. Talk to yourself in English, join a speaking club, or find a language partner. The most important thing is to start speaking regularly and not worry about mistakes. Reason 2. Fear of making mistakes. This is one of the biggest reasons people struggle to speak. You may worry about saying the wrong word, using bad grammar, or sounding awkward. You might be afraid of what others will think. But here's the truth. Everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. Mistakes are not something to fear. Mistakes are your teachers. Every time you make a mistake, you learn something new. Each small mistake helps you improve a little more. The key is to see mistakes as learning opportunities rather than failures. Sarah followed these 2 principles. She practiced speaking every day, even if only for a few minutes. She focused on communicating her ideas, not being perfect. She stopped worrying about grammar or pronunciation at first. Instead, she concentrated on expressing herself. Slowly, her confidence grew. She started speaking longer sentences, joining conversations, and even talking to strangers in English. With consistent effort, Sarah became more fluent and comfortable speaking. The lesson here is clear. Understanding English is only the first step. Speaking requires regular practice and the courage to make mistakes. When you start speaking, don't aim for perfection. Aim for communication. Speak as much as possible. Speak even if you make mistakes. Mistakes are natural, normal, and necessary. Over time, speaking will become easier and your confidence will grow. Remember, you are not alone. Every English learner faces these challenges. Many people understand English but struggle to speak at first. But like Sarah, you can overcome fear, practice every day, and build your confidence step by step. Speaking English will become natural, enjoyable, and even fun. You just need patience, practice, and a positive attitude. Learning to speak English can feel scary at first. You might feel nervous, embarrassed, or worried about making mistakes. That is completely normal. The important thing is to start speaking, even if you are not perfect. If you wait until your English is perfect, you may never begin. But if you speak now, even with mistakes, you will improve much faster. The key is courage and practice. Speak with confidence, and don't worry about being perfect. Here are some important tips to help you speak more confidently. First, don't worry about mistakes. Nobody expects you to speak perfectly. In fact, the more mistakes you make, the more you learn. Mistakes are your teachers. Every time you speak, you improve a little bit. Over time, your mistakes will decrease, and your English will get better. So, instead of being afraid of mistakes, welcome them. Mistakes show that you are learning and growing. Second, lack of confidence can stop you from speaking. Sometimes you understand English well, but you don't feel brave enough to speak. You might think, I don't sound good, or other people speak better than me, or what if I make a mistake? These thoughts are normal, but they can hold you back. Remember, you don't need to sound perfect. You only need to communicate your ideas. Speak as much as you can, even if it's just a few words. Every time you try, your confidence will grow. Take small steps. Start with a simple conversation and build from there. Third, speaking often feels slow. You may know the words in your head, but when you try to speak, your mind pauses. You may struggle to find the right word, or your brain might go blank for a few seconds. That is completely normal. Speaking is a real-time skill. Your brain has to think and speak at the same time. If you don't practice often, it takes longer for your brain to find the words. For example, you might know the word apple, but in a conversation, it could take a few seconds to recall it. That is okay. The more you practice, the faster your brain will respond. Your fluency will improve step by step. Fourth, fear of not being understood is another reason people hesitate. Some learners worry that others won't understand them. This fear can stop you from speaking. But remember, people are usually patient and willing to listen. Communication is more important than perfection. Focus on getting your message across, not on speaking flawlessly. With time and practice, your pronunciation, vocabulary, and clarity will improve. The solution to all these problems is simple. Speak often, make mistakes, and keep going. Even if you feel nervous, start with small sentences. Speak to yourself, with friends, or in a club. Each time you speak, you build confidence, fluency, and comfort with English. Mistakes, pauses, and fear are natural. They are signs that you are learning. Over time, speaking English will feel easier and more natural. Remember Sarah's story. She started with fear and hesitation, but she gradually changed her mindset. She accepted mistakes, practiced every day, and focused on communicating, not being perfect. Little by little, she became confident and fluent.
You can do the same.
Start speaking today. Speak with courage, speak with confidence, and remember that every small effort moves you closer to fluency. Your speaking ability will grow, step by step, just like Sarah's did. Many people who are learning English feel worried about speaking. They think others won't understand them. They may believe their accent is too strong or that their grammar is wrong. Because of this, they fear speaking at all. This fear is very common, and almost every English learner faces it at some point. But here's something important to remember. You don't need perfect English to communicate. The main goal is to make yourself understood. As long as people can understand what you mean, you are doing very well. Most people don't care about your accent, and they will respect your effort to speak. So, don't let fear stop you. Take a deep breath and just speak. Another common challenge learners face is trouble remembering words when speaking. Sometimes you can understand English when you read or listen, but when it's time to speak, the words just don't come to your mind. This is called limited vocabulary recall. It happens when you learn new words, but rarely use them in real conversations. Many learners study vocabulary, read a lot, and listen to English every day, but they don't practice speaking enough. That is why words sometimes vanish from your memory when you need them. The good news is that there is a simple solution. To remember words better, you need to use them actively. Say new words out loud. Make short sentences with them. Talk about them in your daily life, even in small ways. When you use a word repeatedly, it becomes part of your active vocabulary, which means you can recall it easily when speaking. For example, have you ever learned a new word, understood it perfectly in a book or while listening, but then could not remember it during a conversation? That's normal. It happens to almost every learner at some point. But when you practice speaking, your brain learns how to find the right words quickly. Speaking regularly strengthens your ability to recall vocabulary, making English feel more natural and easier to use in real life. So, why do some learners understand English well but still struggle to speak? There are several common reasons. First, they don't get enough speaking practice. Second, they are afraid of making mistakes. Third, they may lack confidence. Fourth, they might speak very slowly or hesitate too much. Fifth, they worry that people won't understand them. And finally, they sometimes have trouble remembering the right words when speaking. All of these problems are completely normal. Almost every learner experiences them. The important thing to know is that none of these challenges are permanent. You can overcome them with consistent practice, patience, and confidence. Start speaking more every day. Don't worry about making mistakes. They are part of learning. Use new words often, even if it feels strange at first. Each time you speak, you build your skills, boost your memory for words, and grow more confident. Over time, speaking English will feel easier, faster, and more natural. Remember, speaking English is a skill, just like riding a bike or playing a sport. You improve by doing it regularly. Accept that mistakes will happen, be patient with yourself, and focus on communicating. As long as people understand you, you are already succeeding. Your effort matters more than perfect grammar or a flawless accent. Every conversation you have is a step forward. With practice, your vocabulary will grow, your confidence will increase, and your English will become smoother and more natural. The fear you feel now is normal, but it will fade as you keep speaking and learning. All the challenges we talked about, fear of making mistakes, trouble remembering words, lack of confidence, can be overcome. The key is time, regular practice, and using the right method. So, what is the most effective solution for speaking English fluently and confidently? It is simple. Practice speaking as much as possible. The more you speak, the better your English will become. Let's look at why speaking practice works so well. 1. Speaking turns knowledge into action. Many learners spend a lot of time studying English. They learn grammar rules, memorize new vocabulary, read books, and listen to English conversations. All of this is very useful. But there is a problem. Knowing something in theory is not the same as using it in real life. Speaking is what connects your knowledge to real communication. For example, you might know food words like bread, rice, or salad. You can recognize them in a book or hear them in a conversation. But if you go to a restaurant, you might hesitate to use these words.
Why?
Because you haven't practiced speaking them out loud. Speaking helps you recall words faster. It allows you to form complete sentences easily. It helps you respond naturally in real situations. When you speak, your brain and your voice work together. This connection is very powerful. The more you speak, the faster your words come to mind. Your English becomes more natural and fluent. 2. Speaking builds confidence. Confidence is one of the biggest challenges for learners. Even if you understand English well, speaking in front of others can feel scary. You may worry about making mistakes or being misunderstood. Here's the good news. Confidence grows with practice. The more you speak, the more comfortable you feel. The less afraid you are of mistakes. The more fluent and natural your English becomes. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. Start speaking now, even if it is only short, simple sentences. Every time you speak, you take a small step forward. Confidence doesn't appear all at once. It grows gradually, little by little. And the best way to build it is by speaking regularly. Each time you speak, you hear yourself using English. You get used to small mistakes. You start feeling relaxed in conversations. Mistakes are part of learning. Many learners fear mistakes and avoid speaking because of that. But mistakes are not bad. They are a natural part of learning. Each time you make a mistake, you learn something new. If you never speak, you stay in your comfort zone and your progress slows down. But even speaking for just 5 minutes a day can make a huge difference. Step by step, your confidence will grow. Speaking every day strengthens your brain, improves your memory for words, and trains you to respond quickly. It is like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Over time, speaking becomes easier, faster, and more natural. You start enjoying conversations instead of fearing them. You notice yourself making fewer mistakes, recalling words effortlessly, and speaking fluently without overthinking. In short, regular speaking practice is the key to overcoming fear, building confidence, and turning your English knowledge into real-life communication. The sooner you start, the sooner you will see progress. Even a few minutes of speaking each day adds up. Every conversation, every word you say, every small mistake, it all brings you closer to speaking English confidently and fluently. The more you practice speaking English, the more comfortable you will become. Speaking regularly does more than just help you form sentences. It actually changes the way your brain works. Many learners first think in their own language and then try to translate into English. This can make speaking slow, stressful, and full of pauses. But when you practice speaking often, your brain begins to think directly in English. You start building sentences naturally without translating. This is exactly what fluent speakers do. They don't translate. They think in English. You can do this too. The key is consistent practice. The more you speak, the faster and more natural your English thinking will become. Speaking also improves your pronunciation and fluency. You can read and listen to English all you want, but if you don't speak, your pronunciation may not improve. When you speak, you hear your own voice. This gives you a chance to notice sounds, rhythm, and stress patterns. You can gradually fix small pronunciation mistakes and sound more natural. Speaking frequently also makes your sentences smoother. At first, you may pause often, hesitate, or forget words. That is normal. But if you keep practicing, you will start speaking more fluently. Your sentences will flow, your pauses will shorten, and your speech will sound confident and natural. Another great benefit of speaking is that it improves your listening skills. Speaking and listening are closely connected. When you have a conversation, you need to listen carefully to understand the other person so you can respond. Practicing speaking regularly trains your ears too. You begin to notice how conversations really work and understand native speakers better. You hear real English, not just the textbook sentences you studied. Over time, you will understand how people actually talk in everyday situations. Speaking and listening work together, just like riding a bicycle. You need both to move forward smoothly. Speaking also makes you a better communicator. Learning English is not only about words or grammar, it is about expressing yourself and connecting with others. The more you speak, the better you learn to share your ideas, thoughts, and feelings. You learn how to respond naturally and participate in real conversations. Good communication is not about perfect grammar. It is about making yourself understood, understanding others, and having real, meaningful interactions. When you speak every day, even for just a few minutes, you gradually become more confident. Your vocabulary becomes easier to recall, your sentences become smoother, and your ideas come out more naturally. You start thinking in English, speaking without hesitation, and understanding native speakers better. Speaking is not just an activity, it is the bridge between learning and using English in real life. It helps you grow in multiple ways: fluency, pronunciation, listening, confidence, and communication skills. The most important thing to remember is that progress comes step by step. Don't be afraid of mistakes. They are a natural and necessary part of learning. Every word you speak, every sentence you form, and every conversation you have is training your brain, improving your English, and bringing you closer to fluency. Over time, the combination of speaking, listening, and thinking in English will make communication easier, more enjoyable, and much more effective. By speaking regularly, you are not only learning English, you are living it. The more you practice speaking English, the better you get at connecting with people. Speaking is not just about knowing words. It is about learning how to use those words in real-life situations. With practice, you will learn how to make small talk, ask questions, give your opinion, and have longer conversations. All of these are important parts of good communication. The more you speak, the easier it becomes to express yourself clearly and naturally. Speaking helps you reach your goals faster. If your goal is to speak English fluently, then speaking practice is the fastest way to improve. Of course, reading, writing, and listening are also important. But when you speak, you use everything you have learned in one activity. Speaking helps you remember new words and grammar rules more easily. It connects your knowledge to real-life situations. The more you speak, the faster your improvement comes, and you'll start noticing real progress in a short time. So, why is speaking practice so important? Speaking builds confidence. It helps you think directly in English instead of translating from your own language. It improves fluency and pronunciation. It trains your listening skills because conversations involve both speaking and listening. And most importantly, speaking makes you a better communicator. To become fluent, speaking must be a regular part of your routine. Don't worry about speaking perfectly. Start small. Speak a little every day. Even short sentences or simple conversations help a lot. Over time, speaking will feel easier and more natural. You will make mistakes, and that is perfectly normal. Mistakes are part of learning. Each time you speak, you learn something new. Each time you make a small mistake, you improve. The important thing is to keep speaking regularly and not let fear stop you. One of the biggest problems learners face is fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of sounding strange, fear of being judged. But here's the truth. Everyone feels fear when learning a language. Even advanced students, even native speakers, sometimes feel nervous when speaking. You are not alone. Understanding this can help you overcome fear. The first step is to accept that fear is normal. Feeling nervous or scared is part of learning. It shows that you are stepping outside your comfort zone and growing. Don't fight the fear. Instead, use it as a signal that you are learning and improving. Every time you face your fear and speak, you move one step closer to fluency. Each small conversation is progress, and each mistake helps you learn. The second step is to focus on communicating, not on being perfect. Your goal is to express yourself and make yourself understood, not to speak flawlessly. When you focus on your message instead of grammar or pronunciation, speaking becomes less stressful. The more you practice, the less fear you will feel. Confidence grows slowly, but steadily, as you speak more every day. Speaking English is a skill that develops through action. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Step by step, word by word, conversation by conversation, your fluency will improve. You'll notice that you start thinking in English naturally, speaking more confidently, and enjoying conversations more. Speaking is not just about language. It is about connecting with people, sharing your ideas, and expressing yourself. Regular practice, patience, and facing your fear are the keys to success. When it comes to speaking English, many people make the mistake of trying to be perfect. They are afraid of making mistakes and want every word, every sentence, and every sound to be correct. But here's the truth. Perfect English is not the goal. The real goal is progress. What matters is not being flawless, but improving little by little every day. Mistakes are part of learning. Even native speakers make mistakes sometimes. What matters is that you keep trying. The more you speak, the better you become. The first step to overcoming fear and building your speaking skills is to focus on progress, not perfection. Accept that mistakes will happen, and that's okay. Every mistake is a lesson. Each time you speak, you get a little better, and your confidence grows. Don't worry about sounding perfect. Worry about expressing yourself and communicating your ideas. The second step is to start small and build slowly. If you feel nervous, don't try to speak for 30 minutes with a native speaker right away. That can feel overwhelming and make fear worse. Instead, begin with short, manageable exercises. You can start by talking to yourself in English. For example, when brushing your teeth, say, "I am brushing my teeth now." When making breakfast, say, "I will make breakfast." Speak your thoughts out loud. For example, "I feel happy today because the sun is shining." Another effective method is to repeat short phrases from movies, podcasts, or YouTube videos. This helps improve your pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. You can also practice in a safe and comfortable environment, such as with a supportive friend or language partner. This reduces fear and helps you form a regular speaking habit. The third step is to use positive affirmations. Sometimes, the biggest barrier is not your English skills, but your thoughts. If you constantly think, "I can't speak English," you will feel nervous and afraid to try. But if you say, "I am improving every day," or "It's okay to make mistakes," your mind begins to believe it. Positive affirmations help build confidence and mental readiness. You can say things like, "I am proud of my progress," or "I can speak English a little better today." Repeat them every morning or before your speaking practice. The more you say them, the more confidence you develop. The fourth step is to practice in safe places. You don't need to speak in public or with strangers at first. Begin in quiet, private spaces where you feel comfortable. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Record yourself speaking and listen to your voice. Practice with a friend or a language partner who supports you. You can also join a small group of learners where everyone is practicing together. This builds your confidence and allows you to speak regularly without pressure. Remember, speaking English is a skill that improves gradually. Step by step, sentence by sentence, your confidence, fluency, and communication ability will grow. Small, daily practices make a big difference over time. Focus on progress, accept mistakes, and create safe, supportive practice environments. Speak every day, even for a few minutes, and your English will steadily improve. Many learners feel nervous about speaking English, and that's completely normal. Almost everyone who is learning a language feels fear at some point. The good news is that you are not alone. Everyone understands these feelings because they have been there themselves. Sharing your fears with others is a great way to feel supported and grow together. You can encourage each other, practice together, and learn from each experience. One important idea is to learn from feedback, not see it as criticism. Many learners worry about what others will think if they make mistakes. But corrections are not something to fear, they are gifts. When someone helps you with your grammar, vocabulary, or pronunciation, they are helping you improve. Mistakes are a natural part of learning. You don't need to feel embarrassed or discouraged. Stay open-minded, listen carefully to feedback, learn from your mistakes, and keep speaking. Every correction you receive is a step toward better English. Another key strategy is to create a speaking routine. Practicing only once in a while makes speaking feel harder and more stressful. But if you practice regularly, even for a few minutes a day, speaking becomes easier and more natural. A routine can be simple. You can talk to yourself about your day. Practice short conversations with a friend. Use language apps that include speaking exercises. Even just 5 or 10 minutes each day can make a big difference if you do it consistently. Over time, your brain and your mouth get used to speaking, and it will feel much more comfortable. It's also important to remember the bigger picture. Sometimes learners feel like they are not good enough to speak English, but you don't need to be perfect. Focus on why you are learning English in the first place. Maybe it's to travel, meet new people, grow in your career, or understand the world better. Keep your goals in mind and let them motivate you instead of scaring you. Speaking English will open many doors for you, and every small step brings you closer to those opportunities. To summarize, there are some simple but powerful strategies to overcome fear and improve your speaking. Accept that fear is normal. Feeling nervous shows you are learning and growing. Focus on progress, not perfection. Mistakes are part of learning. Each one helps you improve. Start small and build gradually. Short, daily practices are better than long, occasional sessions. Use positive affirmations. Remind yourself, I am improving every day, or it's okay to make mistakes. Practice in safe environments. Speak with yourself, with friends, or in supportive groups. Learn from feedback. Corrections are tools to help you improve, not something to fear. Create a speaking routine. Consistent practice makes speaking natural and easy. Stay motivated by remembering your goals. Keep your reasons for learning English in mind. Remember, speaking English is not about being perfect. It is about communicating, expressing yourself, and connecting with others. Every time you speak, you improve a little. Every time you make a mistake, you learn something new. Step by step, conversation by conversation, you become more confident, fluent, and natural in English. With patience, practice, and persistence, speaking English will become easier, more enjoyable, and a real skill you can use every day. If you want to improve your English speaking, don't worry. You can do it. The key is practicing regularly and enjoying the process. Small, consistent steps will lead to big improvements over time. Here are 8 practical tips to help you speak with more confidence and fluency. 1. Speak every day, even a little. The best way to improve your English is to speak often. Even just 5 to 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference. You don't need a speaking partner at first. You can start by talking to yourself. Describe what you're doing, say your thoughts out loud, or explain your plans for the day in English. Making speaking a daily habit is more effective than practicing for a long time just once a week. 2. Find a speaking partner. Talking with someone else is one of the fastest ways to improve. Practice with a friend, family member, or a language exchange partner. You can also use online apps like Tandem, HelloTalk, or Italy to find people to speak with. Choose someone patient and supportive so that speaking becomes enjoyable, not stressful. Regular conversations with a partner will improve your confidence, fluency, and listening skills. 3. Listen and repeat. Imitate native speakers to improve your pronunciation and rhythm. Watch movies, TV shows, or listen to podcasts in English. Then repeat what you hear, trying to copy the way the speakers talk, their pronunciation, tone, and rhythm. This method is called shadowing, and it helps you speak more naturally and fluently. Repeating what you hear trains your mouth and brain to use English patterns automatically. 4. Learn phrases, not just individual words. Knowing single words is helpful, but learning full phrases allows you to speak more naturally. Phrases help you express yourself clearly and confidently. For example, instead of just learning the word happy, learn phrases like, I feel on top of the world, or I am so excited today. Pay attention to phrases in conversations, podcasts, or books. Write them down and practice using them in your own sentences. 5. Record yourself speaking. Recording yourself may feel strange at first, but it works very well. Speak for 1 or 2 minutes about any topic, then listen to your recording. Notice your pronunciation, pauses, and tone. Identify areas for improvement and try recording again. You will be surprised at how much you improve over time. Recording allows you to hear mistakes you might not notice while speaking and helps you track your progress. 6. Start small and gradually build confidence. Don't push yourself to speak for a long time immediately. Begin with short sentences or simple conversations. You can talk to yourself, repeat phrases from movies, or practice with a friend for a few minutes each day. Step by step, your confidence will grow, and longer conversations will feel easier. 7. Use positive affirmations. Your thoughts affect your confidence. Instead of thinking, I can't speak English, say, I am improving every day, or it's okay to make mistakes. Repeating these affirmations every morning or before practice will make you feel more confident and ready to speak. 8. Enjoy the process and stay consistent. Speaking English is a skill that improves with practice and patience. Don't focus on perfection. Focus on progress. Make speaking a regular habit, even for a few minutes daily, and celebrate small improvements. With time, patience, and consistent practice, your English will become more fluent, natural, and confident. 6. Think in English. One of the main reasons speaking feels slow is that learners often translate from their first language. This makes forming sentences take longer. To speak more naturally, you need to train your brain to think directly in English. How can you do this? Start by naming things around you in English. Describe your actions out loud. For example, say, I'm brushing my teeth, or I am making breakfast. You can also answer simple questions in English in your head, like, what am I doing now? Or, how do I feel today? It will take practice, but over time, thinking in English will help you speak faster, more confidently, and more naturally. 7. Use language learning apps. Apps like Duolingo, Babbel, and Rosetta Stone are very helpful for daily practice. They can teach vocabulary, pronunciation, sentence building, and sometimes even use speech recognition to give feedback. These apps are excellent for building habits and improving certain skills, but don't rely on them alone. Always try to speak with real people when you can. Combining app practice with actual conversations will give you faster and more practical results. 8. Speak slowly and clearly. Fluency is not about speed. Speaking slowly and clearly is much more effective for communication. Take your time, think before you speak, and focus on pronouncing words correctly. Breathe and stay relaxed. Speaking clearly helps people understand you better and makes you feel more confident. Remember, clarity is more important than speed. Final tip: keep it simple and keep going. Don't worry about being perfect. Focus on progress. Practice a little every day using these tips. Over time, your speaking will become smoother, stronger, and more natural. Small, consistent steps are better than long, infrequent efforts. Listening and speaking, a powerful connection. Did you know that listening and speaking are closely connected? They work like two sides of the same coin. Improving one skill will help improve the other. Many learners struggle with speaking because they haven't practiced listening enough. Once you understand how these two skills support each other, you will start improving much faster. Why listening helps you speak. When we speak English, we often repeat patterns, sounds, and words we have heard before. That's why listening is so important. The more you listen to English, the easier it becomes to speak. Listening helps you learn pronunciation, intonation, and natural rhythm. By paying attention to how native speakers talk, you notice small details like stress on certain words, sentence melody, and common expressions. This awareness makes your own speaking sound more natural and fluent. How to practice listening for speaking. Listen to podcasts, watch movies, shows, or videos in English, and focus on the way people speak. Try to imitate their pronunciation, tone, and speed. Repeat words and sentences out loud. Listen actively and try to understand patterns in speech. Over time, your brain will start predicting and using these patterns in your own speaking. This is one of the fastest ways to improve fluency. Key takeaway: speaking and listening work together. The more you listen, the easier it is to speak. The more you speak, the better you understand conversations. Practice both regularly. Think in English, use apps for extra support, speak slowly and clearly, and keep it simple. With consistent effort, your speaking will become smoother, natural, and confident. Listening is one of the most important skills for improving your English speaking. When you listen to English carefully, you learn not just words but also how the language sounds, flows, and works in real life. Listening helps you speak better, and speaking helps you listen better. Together, they create a powerful feedback loop. 1. Learn pronunciation and rhythm. When you listen to native speakers, you notice how words are pronounced and how the sentences rise and fall. This is called intonation. English has a natural rhythm and melody, and listening helps you understand it. For example, when someone asks, "Are you going?" your voice rises at the end because it's a question. Listening regularly helps you feel this rise naturally and speak more like a native speaker. 2. Understand sentence structure. Listening to English in real conversations teaches you how sentences are built. You learn which words go together, the order of words, and how natural English sounds. This makes it easier to form your own sentences correctly when you speak. Instead of memorizing grammar rules, you learn patterns naturally by hearing them used in context. 3. Grow your vocabulary. The more you listen, the more words and phrases you learn. You will hear everyday expressions like, "How's it going?" or emotional phrases like, "That's amazing." Listening gives you a bigger word bank to use when speaking. You also learn how words are used in real situations, not just in textbooks. 4. Learn culture and real-life language. Native speakers often use idioms, slang, and cultural expressions. For example, idioms like "break the ice," slang like "what's up," or cultural phrases like "make a toast" appear in real conversations. Listening helps you understand these expressions and use them naturally, so you sound more fluent and comfortable in real-life situations. The feedback loop. Listening and speaking. Listening and speaking work together like a cycle. First, you listen to English. You hear the sounds, sentence structures, and vocabulary. Then you try to speak. You use what you've heard to form your own sentences. Next, you listen again, noticing what works and what could be improved. Each time you repeat this loop, you get a little better. This is how children learn language. They listen, imitate, and practice over and over. Listening makes you a confident speaker. To speak well, start by becoming a good listener. The more you listen, the more naturally words and sentences will come to you when you speak. Listening also trains your brain to recognize patterns, stress, and tone in English, which makes your speaking sound smoother and more natural. Activities to practice listening for speaking. Watch English movies, TV shows, or series with subtitles. Pay attention to how sentences rise and fall. Listen to podcasts or YouTube videos in English. Focus on pronunciation, rhythm, and expressions. Repeat what you hear out loud, copying the sounds and intonation. This strengthens both your speaking and listening skills. Notice how native speakers ask questions, give opinions, or use casual expressions. Try to use the same patterns when you speak. Remember, listening and speaking work together. The more you listen, the more confident and fluent you become. Speaking gives you a chance to practice what you've heard, and listening shows you what to improve. By practicing both, step by step, your English will become natural, smooth, and easy to use in real life. Listening is one of the most powerful tools to improve your English speaking. When you listen carefully, your brain starts connecting the sounds you hear with the words you speak. Over time, this makes your speaking more fluent, natural, and confident. 1. Use shadowing. Listen and repeat. One of the best ways to improve speaking through listening is a method called shadowing. First, listen to something in English like a podcast, video, or movie clip. Then, repeat what you hear out loud. Try to copy the words exactly, including pronunciation, tone, and rhythm. You can even record yourself with your phone and compare your voice to the original. This helps you notice which words you pronounce correctly, where your intonation can improve, and which words need more practice. Shadowing trains both your ears and your mouth, making your speaking smoother and more accurate. 2. Focus on fluency, not speed. Fluency is about speaking smoothly and clearly, not just talking fast. Listening to native speakers helps you understand how fluency works. Native speakers usually use short phrases instead of long, grammar-heavy sentences. They link words together naturally. For example, do you want to go to the park? Is often spoken like, do you want to go to the park? This is called connected speech. The more you hear it, the more you will naturally use it in your own speaking. 3. Listening helps reduce fear. Many learners feel nervous about speaking. They worry, what if I make a mistake? Or, what if I sound silly? But here's the truth. Even native speakers make mistakes. They don't stop talking, they fix the mistake and keep going. By listening to real conversations, you can hear how natural mistakes are. People correct themselves casually and continue speaking. Listening to this helps you feel more relaxed and confident. You understand that making mistakes is normal, and it becomes less scary to speak. 4. Build the listening-speaking loop. Listening gives you the foundation, and speaking helps you build on it. First, listen carefully to how words, sentences, and phrases sound. Then, try repeating them, recording yourself, or using the phrases in real sentences. Listen again to notice improvements and what needs work. Each time you repeat this cycle, your fluency, pronunciation, and confidence grow. This loop works naturally, just like how children learn a language. They hear, imitate, and practice over and over. 5. Practical tips for listening practice. Watch English videos, TV shows, or movies with subtitles. Try to repeat phrases after the speaker. Listen to podcasts, YouTube videos, or songs in English. Focus on pronunciation, rhythm, and natural expressions. Record yourself repeating sentences and compare them with the original to see progress. Notice how native speakers link words together and how their voice rises or falls naturally. 6. Listening improves communication skills. When you listen carefully, you learn not only pronunciation but also rhythm, sentence structure, and vocabulary. You learn natural expressions and how real conversations flow. This helps you speak more clearly and respond naturally. Over time, listening makes you a better communicator because you understand both what to say and how to say it. Key takeaway: listening and speaking work together. Listening trains your ears, builds vocabulary, and teaches rhythm. Speaking puts what you hear into action. The more you listen, the more naturally you will speak. Mistakes are normal, connected speech will feel natural, and confidence will grow. With regular listening and speaking practice, your English will become fluent, smooth, and confident. Listening is one of the fastest ways to improve your speaking. When you listen carefully, your brain starts to recognize how words, sentences, and phrases are used in real life. This makes speaking easier, faster, and more natural. Listening and speaking work together. The more you listen, the better you speak, and the more you speak, the better you listen. Here are some practical tips to improve your listening for better speaking. 1. Listen to different types of English. Don't just stick to one kind of English. Try podcasts, movies, TV shows, news reports, interviews, or audiobooks. Each type of content teaches you something new. You will hear different accents, formal and informal English, and how people talk in real-life situations. The variety helps your brain recognize words and patterns faster, which makes speaking easier. 2. Start with slower English if needed. If you are a beginner, it's okay to start slow. Use English learning podcasts, beginner-friendly YouTube videos, or audiobooks designed for learners. Slow and clear English helps you understand better and learn pronunciation. As you improve, you can gradually listen to faster, natural conversations with native speakers. Don't rush. Take your time to understand clearly. 3. Use subtitles or transcripts. Subtitles or transcripts are very helpful. First, listen without reading to see what you understand naturally. Then, listen again while reading subtitles or transcripts. This helps you match the sounds you hear with the correct words. You'll notice how words are really pronounced and pick up words or phrases you missed the first time. Over time, you'll start understanding more without needing subtitles. 4. Listen actively, not passively. Active listening means paying full attention. Notice the speaker's tone of voice, where they pause, how they show emotions, and how they emphasize certain words. Then try to copy it when you speak. This helps your voice sound more natural, confident, and expressive. Don't just hear English. Focus on how it is spoken. 5. Listen to real conversations. Textbooks are useful, but real people don't talk like textbooks. Listen to casual conversations, daily life discussions, or friendly interviews. You'll hear slang, idioms, and common phrases like, "No way, you got this," or "What's going on?" These expressions are used in real life and will make your speaking more natural. Listening to authentic English prepares your brain for real conversations. 6. Shadow and repeat. After listening, try repeating what you hear. This is called shadowing. Copy the words, pronunciation, rhythm, and tone. Record yourself and compare it with the original. This helps your mouth and ears work together, improving fluency, pronunciation, and confidence. 7. Remember the connection. Listening plus speaking equals fast progress. Listening teaches you pronunciation, rhythm, sentence structure, and real-life vocabulary. Speaking puts what you hear into action. The two skills support each other like a team. The more you listen, the more natural your speaking becomes. The more you speak, the easier it is to understand what you hear. Together, they build fluency, confidence, and real communication skills. Key takeaway: listening is not just about understanding words. It's about learning how English sounds, how sentences flow, and how people communicate naturally. Combine listening with speaking, practice every day, and you will see fast improvement. Over time, your speaking will become smoother, clearer, and more confident. Listening and speaking go hand in hand when learning English. Listening helps you hear how English really sounds, the rhythm of sentences, the tone of voice, and the words people use every day. Speaking lets you use what you've learned in real conversations and daily life. When you combine listening and speaking, you build confidence, understanding, and a natural flow in English. At first, it's normal for speaking to feel difficult and listening to feel confusing. Don't worry, this is part of learning. Every word you speak and every sentence you hear is helping your brain get better at English. Learning a language is a process, and every small step counts. Even if you only speak to yourself or repeat sentences you hear in a video or podcast, it is still progress. Fluency takes time, but you are on the right path. Keep listening to English every day. Even 10 or 15 minutes is helpful. Keep speaking, even if it's just short sentences to yourself. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are not failures. They are opportunities to learn and grow. Celebrate every small improvement. Every time you understand a new word, use a new phrase, or speak more clearly, it's a step forward. How listening and speaking work together. Listening teaches you how words are pronounced, how sentences rise and fall, and how people naturally link words together. Speaking lets you use this knowledge in real life, helping your words come out smoothly and confidently. The more you listen, the easier it is to understand. The more you speak, the easier it is to express your thoughts. Together, listening and speaking create a positive cycle. One skill improves the other, and both make you more fluent. Tips to make daily progress. Practice regularly. Even a few minutes each day is better than long sessions once a week. Consistency builds habits. Use real English. Watch movies, TV shows, or YouTube videos. Listen to podcasts and songs. Repeat phrases and sentences you hear. Speak in safe spaces. Talk to yourself, record your voice, or practice with a friend or a language partner. The more you speak, the more confident you become. Stay patient and positive. Language learning takes time. Be kind to yourself. Every small step counts. Enjoy the journey. Learning English is not just about being perfect. It's about communicating, practicing, and improving little by little. Remember, even short daily practice can make a big difference. Listening helps you understand natural English. Speaking helps you express yourself clearly and confidently. Mistakes are part of learning, and each step forward builds your fluency. Believe in yourself. You have the ability to become a confident and fluent English speaker. Keep practicing, stay patient, and enjoy each step of the journey. The more you listen and speak, the more natural English will feel. Over time, you will notice real progress, and English will become easier and more enjoyable. Make listening and speaking part of your daily routine. Even 10 to 15 minutes a day will help you improve steadily. Trust the process, keep practicing, and celebrate your growth. Your English fluency is improving every day, and every small effort brings you closer to speaking confidently and naturally.